Have you ever heard of the term gaslighting? No, you haven't. It doesn't exist. You're crazy. Liar. Have you heard of the term gaslighting? What is it? Chances are you've been gaslit many times, and maybe even been a gaslighter yourself.
The Disinformation Handbook is our guide to rejecting deception.
Today, we're talking about gaslighting. What is gaslighting? We'll start with the definition.
Gaslighting is when someone tries to convince you that what you see, feel, and hear are incorrect, and that you're crazy to believe otherwise.
They do this to destabilize your sanity so they can get away with any lie, big or small.
Why would anyone want to distort someone else's perception of reality?
What's to be gained from driving someone crazy?
For a good example, let's look at your dog.
Say you take your dog to the vet, but you have a very smart dog who can always tell when it's vet time. What do? Fight the dog, drag her to the vet, or maybe you gaslight her.
Why would you gaslight a dog?
So, you tell your dog you're going to the dog park, not the vet. You employ the first tactic of gaslighting, you lie. All gaslighting begins with a lie, but gaslighting is more than just lying, it's creating a distorted reality. So to convince her, you bring her special park frisbee.
That's your best friend.
Then when you drive past the dog park, you don't stop. You keep going. Your actions don't match your words. But hey, you've got to get her to the vet. And besides, you tell her if she would just go willingly, you wouldn't have to deceive her. Now you're projecting. Your dog is stressed. She's trying to hold you accountable for the thing you've promised. So you tell her you never said when you'd go to the dog park. Now you're denying something even though she has proof. You brought the park frisbee. You don't know why she's making such a big deal out of this. It's for her own good. So you tell her she's being crazy. You tell her her fear of the vet is irrational, even though you both know that if you're a dog, fearing the vet and the things they do to dogs is very rational.
So your dog buys it. She goes quietly.
Congratulations, you've gaslit your dog.
A cat would have none of this.
It's easy to understand how gaslighting might work one-on-one with your dog or another person. But is it possible to gaslight an entire population?
Absolutely.
Go back in time to when COVID had just hit. People were murdering each other for Purell and devouring Costco pallets of toilet paper like they were brains in a zombie movie.
Everyone's in lockdown, indoors. No one knows what's going on. Every day we're hearing new terrible things about this virus, and lots of bad info is going around.
In all of this, we were sure there was an example of gaslighting.
So I asked, what about masks?
What about masks?
Now, as a plague-obsessed prepper, I was pretty confident masks are a common-sense safety precaution in a pandemic.
But I knew that face masks were useless to prevent the spread of coronavirus because scientists were on TV saying only hospital workers caring for COVID-19 patients needed masks.
Every pandemic in modern human history has one thing in common: masks. Even medieval doctors knew masks were a good idea. If masks didn't affect transmission at all, why did nurses and doctors need them?
From March until April, experts were telling us masks were not necessary.
Right now in the United States, people should not be walking around with masks.
But then, in April, public health and news publications told us that we should be wearing masks.
One of the important things that we're emphasizing is our insistence now on wearing masks.
How did masks go from being ineffective to necessary?
Rather than telling us to wear masks, the government thought it was better to lie about their effectiveness so that the public wouldn't panic.
How did Doug go from being so wrong to being so right?
And then
The CDC claimed that they had gotten more information, that people could be asymptomatic and spread the virus, and that wearing masks, even cloth masks, could be an effective way to slow the spread. Check out this petri dish.
distorting common sense was the only way that lie would work.
This is the very definition of gaslighting.
Here's whistleblower Dr. Rick Bright of the HHS, the agency that runs the CDC.
They indicated if we notice there is a shortage that we will simply change the CDC guidelines.
They denied they lied, in spite of evidence.
My response was, I cannot believe you can sit and say that with a straight face.
Now I can say it. We were gaslit by the CDC.
See, I wasn't crazy.
If you put soap up your nose for 20 seconds, it kills the virus.
Wait, really?
No.
Oh.
The short-term goal of gaslighting was to prevent the public from stockpiling masks, Then, the goal became avoiding accountability for lying about these masks, both of which were achieved. Don't we sound kind of like the dog in the dog story here?
It's like this Japanese game show where contestants don't know if something is an inedible object or chocolate made to look like that object. It all looks the same, so even if you're careful, you're still going to end up with a mouthful of shoe.
If you suspect you're being gaslit by a larger entity, governmental, journalistic, whatever it may be, you need to save your sources.
Document through screen grabs and bookmarks.
And unpack this stuff with your friends.
If the gaslighter was an individual, this is where you would cut the gaslighter out of your life.
Or try and reason with them.
But this is harder to do when you rely on the gaslighter. What you need to do is identify what you actually need from them, and then diversify away from them as much as possible.
And this is why you should think twice before gaslighting your dog.
We can't stop all the gaslighters, but if we know how they operate, then we can minimize their negative impacts on our lives.
And if you like this video and want to see more like this, don't forget to like and subscribe to the Disinformation Handbook. Also, drop us a line in the comments section. Let us know if there's a topic you want us to cover, and we might just take it on next episode.